must confess something about Back to the Future. I first saw this film back in high school. I know what you're going to say. Great Scott! How did you miss out on Back to the Future until high school? I just never had access to the film on videotape. That was what happened. And you can also blame my dumb teenage mindset back in the day because I thought Back to the Future seemed kind of a boring film back in the day. Here was the cool thing about my high school. I went to a private specialty school during most of my high school years. And the one nice thing is that during lunch, students can bring in a DVD of a film and watch it for about 30 to 40 minutes, and then watch more of it the next day. And one of the teachers brought in Back to the Future. So I sat down and watched Back to the Future with classmates, and I was having a blast. So were the other classmates. Back to the Future is a classic 80s film, no questions asked. So what is Back to the Future about? Well, it's about going back in time and then going back to the present. If I told you any more in between, it would lessen the fun of Back to the Future. Chances are you have seen Back to the Future already. If not, stop watching this review, go and watch Back to the Future. And you can come back later. And you can thank me later. The film score of Back to the Future is one of Alan Silvestri's greatest triumphs in his composing career. The acting is fantastic in Back to the Future. How can anyone forget Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly? Thanks to a certain animated show, I get Marty McFly's name mixed up sometimes. But the one that makes Back to the Future fun to watch is Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown. His performance is just as unforgettable as Michael J. Fox's. These two actors together make Back to the Future. There's also Crispin Glover. Yeah, he's a bit of a weirdo. And Thomas F. Wilson, who is still alive, will forever be famous as Biff. Who are you looking at, butthead? Back to the Future is also one of the very quotable films from the 80s. Great Scott! 1.21 gigawatts! Hell, even I can't resist quoting Back to the Future. It's that memorable. But what makes Back to the Future a great film is that even though it has great character interactions, and likable characters for that matter, between Doc Brown and Marty McFly and others, the plot is actually very complicated, even though the film is actually pretty easy to follow. After having revisited Back to the Future, I still love it just as much as when I first watched Back to the Future back in high school. It is definitely one of the best films from the 80s. I am shooting a 10 out of 10 for Back to the Future. How can you not forget Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly? How can anyone forget Marty McFly? How can you not forget Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly? God